Hello, good evening. We are here again, back in the corner of the shed. This evening we have a very special episode of my live stream build-alongs, and that's because we're building this fella, the Molten Motion Meter. How extraordinary is that? How fantastic. If you've bought one of these, a fully assembled version, you'll find that it's only half the height of this. This has got two boards, because in the production one, the one you buy off the shelf, it's all surface mount, whereas the kit uses a lot more of the through hole stuff, and so it's a bigger module in depth because there's not so much room for everything. We have to create more room by doubling up on the PCB, so that's the reason for that. But this is what we're going to be looking at tonight. We're going to build one from scratch all the way through to finish. And my mind's just gone, oh yeah, there's some surface mounting there. Oh, I'd forgotten about that. So this is essentially the official build-along build guide for the module. So I better kind of keep it smart and professional and all those sorts of things. You're very welcome to build along with me. I'm not necessarily going to wait for you to catch up once we get through bits. All I'm going to do is build through it as methodically and hopefully as properly as possible, so that we get to finding another one of these at the end. That's the idea. That's the idea. So if you're watching this later on, if you come to it after you've bought your kit and now you want to find out how to build one, then you're very welcome here. There will be some chat in the chat, I hope. I'm not going to focus too much on that. I'm going to focus mainly on getting things done. Hopefully, the difference with this build to other ones that I do is that I'm a bit more familiar with the build guide because I wrote the thing. So hopefully we won't run into too many problems or snags. So that's nice. The other thing is I've got a bit of a cold, which is frustrating, but hopefully my voice will hold out and I won't sniff and cough too much. So apologies about that ahead of time. Otherwise, I think we're all good and we can probably kind of get on with it. My estimate at this point is it's going to take 2 hours. That's what I think. I heard from a guy, one of my patrons, who did it in half an hour, he reckoned, which seemed awfully quick. Really? Crikey, I haven't got warmed up after half an hour, but we do have a few things to get through. So let's gather ourselves. I'm just going to have a bit more of my coffee. The chat seems to have got themselves hung up on the word through hole. You know, quality stuff we have in there, you know. I don't know what you do outside of your time with me, Ian. I think that's one of those decisions you're going to have to make yourself, I'm afraid. Also, we are streaming, of course, on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, I believe. Hello out there. You're very welcome to contribute to the chat. You may not be seeing what's going on because most of the chat is on YouTube. If you're watching this later on YouTube, that's where you'll find all the conversation. But you're very welcome to throw in questions. If I'm able to see them, I will see them and answer them as best I can. So, why don't we have a look and see what the kit consists of, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Now, the build guide should be in the description of this video, which is, I'm just going to, you know, just so you can see the top of my head. But it's on the moltenmusictechnology.com website, the DIY build guide. We're going to be stepping ourselves through that on my surface here. So that's the best source of information. This here is going to be something to a companion to that, just to show that it can be done, I think. Now, if I keep talking, then I don't actually have to do it, because I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous about it. Because normally when I'm building stuff, I'm quite happy to slag people off and tell them how terrible their build guides are, but this is slightly different. So let's empty the box, get rid of that. let's swap to something where you can see what's going on. Yeah, there we go. Let's have one of those. So I've got an overhead camera here. You should be able to see the build guide and me. Hello. That's the plan. That's how we're going to do this. So Bafako, bless their hearts, have included this assembly guide, which is good. And if you're a super solderer, know what you're doing, have made 1,000 kits, then this is really all you need. It's got the layout of the PCBs. It's got your bill of materials, that kind of thing. And we'll take you through more or less step by step what to do. My build guide follows this for the most part, although I do have a few changes that I made. Just adjustments, mind. But otherwise it's totally buildable with this sheet of paper, which I'm going to discard over there. So in our kit we will get two PCBs. As you can see, this is the one with all the LEDs on. So these are surface mount, already pre-soldered. Is a schematic available? You mean a circuit diagram? God, my voice is going. Not as such. All we have really is this bit here. Not an actual circuit diagram, if that's what you're after, Andy. So anyway, so there's the front panel, looking lovely. Put that to one side. As I was saying, these are the surface mount LEDs, which are relatively fragile in that you don't want to scrape them with your thing when you're cutting stuff. You don't want to accidentally desolder any of them. So those are already on there. There's a few. Is there any other bits? Oh yeah, you got, no, you haven't. That's mostly that. Oh yeah, within inside that there's a few other bits and pieces that are pre-soldered. Otherwise, the rest is ours. Ian says the PCBs were not separated in the first release of kits. Fair enough. They were probably connected. You can see that I've got connected edges here. So if yours appeared like that, all you got to do is rock them a little bit and they should snap. It's actually a little bit warm in here now because I've had the heating on, but as you know, I'm not allowed to have the heating on very much. I'm just going to turn that off in a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't dazzle you with a shirt this evening. I just felt that as I was feeling a bit rough, I better just go for comfortableness. Okay, so two PCBs. Yeah, did that right. Did that bit. Okay, keep your focus. There's a bag of stuff. Another bag of stuff. Some sort of resistory type stuff. I got another one of these. I got these coming out of my ears now. These are little tools for putting on the banana nuts. That to one side. Power cable. Not going to need that for a bit. Bunch of chips. Bunch of chip holders. And then this is mostly the front panel hardware. Cool. Yeah, they have been out of stock. We did sell out of all the kits, which is nice, which is lovely, but they are building more. There will be more, but for the moment that's kind of all you've got. It was unexpectedly popular. Not unexpectedly, that's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I guess what we should do now that we have everything is turn my soldering iron on and have a look through the build guide. Sorry, I'm just going to be kind of sniffy and horrible. I'm sorry about that. I really am. So let's have a closer look at the manual for the moment. So this is on the web page, as I say. It's just called the Molten Motion Meter DIY Build Guide. Now, the first thing to say is that a few people have reported a missing capacitor, which is very sad, and Manu has fallen on his sword a number of times about it. And that's one of these ones here, which is this one. Now I've just changed the thing, but we'll look at this again in a minute. But if you have this kit, do go and check that you have 11 of these. If not, give Perfacco a shout and they'll send out a spare. Or, I mean, I've got some here at worst. Whatever works, we'll work that out. So there should be 11 of those. So, a little bit of preamble. Here's our preparation. You will need a soldering iron with a sponge. I've got one of those over here. Some cutters, which are these sorts of things. Some safety specs. Always. Memories of November. Why do I want any of that? You stupid thing. Can we make that go away? Do not disturb. Thank you. Safety specs. Always vital when soldering because the solder does splatter. Some extra things you could have. Magnifiers are going to be useful. I have these old things, which are fantastic. Because I can't see diddly squat anymore. A desktop fan to blow away the fumes. I'll turn that on in a minute. Some steel wool, that kind of thing, to clean the end of your soldering iron. Stuff in the way. Solder sucker. Tweezers. I could have prepared all this stuff earlier, you realise, if I tried hard enough. Some tweezers, some ambient music. I'm not going to be able to put that on because I keep getting little strikes. Stuff gets taken away. Whenever I put on some background music, it gets stolen. So I'm not going to be doing that. But you can do that at home. That will be nice. And we just need to be nice and relaxed. Now you can use a PCB holder. I do have one of these things over here. This sort of thing. I can just never get it to work. It just collapses. The things don't tighten up. I don't know what I'm looking at. These feel a bit grabby. Feel like I'm going to break something. But for some people, these are awesome. Personally, that's never worked for me. I just do it in situ, right in front of me. Right. So, in the build guide, I didn't do a proper bill of materials where you go through everything step by step. I do that as we do it, because it felt like, or what I find with bills of materials is that once you get onto another section, you want to go back and check to make sure you've got everything, and you often find yourself going to and fro in the build guide and get yourself a bit lost. So I figured if I did all the bill of materials stuff at the actual time and place in the build guide where you're going to solder them, that seemed to make more sense. So I do a little bit on just checking that you've got the right bags, which we seem to have, so that's a good thing. And then we'll get on like that, all right? Hellseeker's asking me to give a shout out to Blush Response. He makes cool stuff apparently. The industrial side of modular. Send us a link, mate, and I'll go check it out. Maybe I can include it in something. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Oh, that's better. That's better. Right. So this is going to be fun, I say. We're ready to go. So we're going to kick off with the surface mount. Now I know everyone goes, oh my goodness, surface mount, let's run to the hills. It's really not hard. First of all, you got to find it. It's not in that one, is it? It's probably going to be in this one. And I will show you exactly how to do it. Woo. No, it's not in that one either. It's in here somewhere. Those are strange, those strange bits. That's a knob. So I remember what they look like. They must be. Oh, they're in here. Got them. Got them. All right. Panic over. So in here, amongst all our resistors, which we'll look at in a minute, you'll find a little thing like this. And these are our surface mount chips, okay? So I think we just got to do them. Yeah, I think we just got to do them. So my soldering iron's heated up. I'll put my little fan on. See, that keeps me extra cold. That's why I need the jumper. And we'll go back to our overhead shot with my nice shiny light that reflects. I've got to try. One of these days I'm going to work out how to do something about that. So what do we need? Well, we need a PCB. And what's it going to go on? So it's going on the back. Of the control PCB. Now the two PCBs. We have a control one. And we have, what's the other word? The brain, the main. Okay, main PCB. So the main PCB is this one. It's the one that's got the power connector on. It's the one that's got the big long chip in the middle. That's the main PCB. That's what's got all of the stuff that does the work. This one is called the control PCB because it has the controls. It ultimately will have the knobs on and such like. So that is the control PCB. That's the one we're going to need. Now for this, we need it on this side, and there's two places, here and here. This is for your surface mount. All right. Okay, good. So let's put this down and bring this in a little bit. I just need to adjust that light. Where can I put it that's going to be slightly better? Because that's just ruining everything. Okay, that's a little bit better. Stand this up a little bit so it doesn't reflect. Better, good. Oh really? Look, we're just trying to do some soldering. We don't want to know about your hot girls. Hang on, I can't seem to, why can't I do a thing? Hang on. There we go. Right, anyway, cool. I mean, soldering is exciting enough without having to be inundated with hot girls. And for those of you on other platforms, not on YouTube, it was just a bit of spam. Right, okay, am I good? So I'm going to put my magnifiers on my head so I can see what's happening. Get a little bit closer in. So, I brought this in, haven't I? Bring this in nice and close. So we are talking about this bit here and this bit here. And these are our teeny weeny surface mount chips. So first of all, try and get them out without losing them onto your carpet. So they are adorably small, like little bugs. And you can use your tweezers to manipulate them rather than your fingers so that you don't, oh, whatever. Whatever works. Come on, turn over. Turn over. I can't. No, it's not going to work. There we go. So the basic idea of what we're trying to do here is we're going to solder on one of these pads. And then we're going to push it into it, just a bit like that. Now, the way around they need to be is that I believe that line on one edge of it needs to go with the 1. Just let me check that. Get your iron, add a little bit of solder to the thing next to the 1, take one of it and make sure it's the right way around and line up with the pads. So yeah, see, this is quite interesting because it's amazing how much I think I've written when actually there's probably more I could say. So yes, the pictures tell me that the line on here lines up with the one that's on the PCB, but I didn't actually state that. I'll try to make a note of that and do that later. So the line, as you can see, lines up with the one. You see that? We've got that. So what we want to do is put this on here. So to do that, I'm going to put a little bit of blob solder on here, and then I'm going to move into it. So I take my soldering iron, make sure it's nice and clean, get some solder. Solder! Who's got the solder? Here we go. Get solder. And all I want to do, heat this pad. And put some solder on it. Good. So now that I've got solder down there, I'm going to grab my little bug. Again, make sure it's the right way around. Put it over here. Going to heat that pad again so that the solder melts. And I'm going to push my little fella into it, trying to make sure it's straight and all the pads are on, and then let go. There you go, he's on. See, it wasn't hard, was it? Now you should be able to see on there, oh, got the other one moving about, that all those little legs are on the pads. Yeah, good. Do you want to see me do it again? Right, let's do the other one. Obviously I've only done one leg, I appreciate that, but we'll do the rest in a minute. So a little bit of solder, heat the pad, give it some solder, probably more than I'm putting on it actually, but it'll do as long as it gets tagged on. That's all that really matters. So then I present it to the solder, I heat up the pad again, wait for the solder to melt, and then with a wobbly hand, so it seems this time, come on, slide it in far enough along so it's on every pad, let go, and it's on. Great, now we do solder the rest of the legs. So again, just heat it up a little bit. And try to get in a little blob of solder. As you sort of pull away, it tends to work really well. Now see, that was directly onto the iron and was of no use whatsoever, but it's now flowed onto the pad. Oh, well, this is a mess. Well, that's okay. Let's go for one over here. I've got a slightly different tip on this to when I did it last. And so this has got a flat edge to it, and I'm not sure that that's actually helping me at this point, rather than a pointy one. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. And I'm going to do that first one a little bit again. Good. Excuse me. Going to spin it round. Heat it up. Nice, that's a bit better. It's just not quite going on. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's all gone pear-shaped. There's nothing like drama, is there? Okay. Just had a little bit too much solder going on. That's looking better now. Yeah, just this side to do. So yeah, a pointy iron is definitely slightly better, but I put this new tip on because my other one was just not working. And I just happened to have this. I thought I would try it out. And it's been good on the whole. But for this tiny work, it's not quite doing the job. But I'm going to persevere, because that's what you do. Better. See, even with making a mess of it, it's not difficult. Solder wick, I wouldn't know what to do with it, mate. I really wouldn't know what to do with solder wick. I do have some. I've put it on things and looked at it going, I have no idea what that's supposed to do. So exciting though the idea of using it is, it's just not something I have for the moment. Thank you. Do you have any flux spray? Flux away spray? It helps if things get gloopy. Someone asks if there are different standards of solder require different temperatures. I don't know. I think you've got to use what works, you know. I think you try things out and see what occurs. That's been my experience. I've been up and down with this soldering iron because I was having a bit of trouble with it. Things just weren't melting, and I thought I was cleaning the tip, but I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm just trying. But like I say, I put this new tip on that I just happen to have, or I think it might have come with it, and that has massively helped on the most part. Right, so that's done. That is done. So now we're on to the resistors. Cool. So that's all this lot here. Oh no, something just rolled off the desk. Right, hang on. Stand by. I think I know what that would have been. All right, hang on. Was it just that? No, it was something. It was definitely something. Definitely something. Now I think I know what that's going to be, and that's a shame. Just give us a minute. Oh, there's no way I'm finding it. Gosh darn it. Hey, I'm not going to worry about that just for the minute. We'll see what it is that's missing when we get to it. I think it's probably a ferrite bead. That's a bit of a worry. Especially as I think there should be two. Yeah, look. See, I think it's one of those. Ba-ba. So I've got one there and another one I think went for it, but we'll see if we have to find that later on. Don't panic. Yeah, okay. So let me wipe my nose. I will fashion a ferrite bead out of something else. Right, we don't want this to descend into chaos. Let's see where we are. Okay, so resistors. Those are diodes. We've got this lot. So there should be 26 100Ks, which is these. "26 of those. 6 of the 120Ks, which are brown, red, black, orange, brown. Brown, red, black, orange, brown, which is those. So I'm going to write these on here. Those are 120. These ones are 100. Now there's two lots of 5, a 10K and a 1K. 10K is brown, black, black, red, brown. Brown, black, black, red, brown. Well, this is the real tricky bit, because you've got brown, black, black, brown, brown, and brown, brown, blah, 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 red, brown. So these with the red on it, they're the 10K. These with the browns are the 1K. I've got 3 which are 30K, which are these ones here: orange, black, black, red, brown, 30K. I've got 2 11K, which are these ones here. And then the single one is the 560R. So all of these are going to have to go in now. These are going across both boards. Rather than breaking them into separate ones, and you'll see on each board that each resistor has its number as listed in our bill of materials. Okay, so instead of having like 100K printed on the circuit board, you've just got the resistor number. But if you look on the build guide, it gives you all of the numbers in turn, and you can find those, populate them, and go for it. So there's 48 resistors in total to solder across 2 boards. You've got R1 to R25 on the main PCB, which is this one, and R26 to R48 on the control. I suggest doing them in batches of 10 at a time. Much more and it becomes a bit tricky with all the legs knocking around, so maybe that's what we'll do. So apparently there are 7 of them on the main board of the first 100K resistors. So let's do that. So I'm going to put this one to one side. This is the main PCB. These are the 100K resistors. Now these are smaller than I've used previously. I have to say, but that's okay, because the boards are quite tightly packed, but not terribly tightly packed, just quite tightly packed. Now there are some places where the pads, when you solder them, are actually connected to one another underneath. See if I can find an example of that. I think perhaps on here. Yeah, there's a couple of places like here, and you just need to be aware of it in case you solder one resistor and then fill in the hole by accident. It's probably best to have both resistors in that particular scenario. Right. Excuse me, enough talk. So I tend to pull off a bunch if I'm about to put in a bunch, and I push them over and push them down in order to have them about right. So this is the control PCB, this is the way up, the one that's got all the writing on. And for the first bunch of these we need R7, R8. So get the board the right way up. Starting at the top, coming down looking for R7. Now this is where all the time is going to take. You know, I can't time lapse or fast forward. We're just going to have to go with it. So I'll try to be as efficient as I can because it's already 20 to 8 and we haven't really got anywhere. So let's get going. R17. R18. R19. R19 is a little bit further south than it should be, because they're usually in alphabetical order. Alphabetical order? Numerical order? One of those sorts of orders. 20 and 23. And 23. 26 is on the other board. So I've got 7 on here. We'll turn them over and do them. This is one of those places where you have resistors that are touching each other. So this is perfect for that because they are both in there and going to be soldered together. So all you have to do, put your soldering iron on the pad and the leg, present it with some solder, pull it off, bish bash bosh, and it's done. Doesn't seem to be heating up. Just try angling it a little bit so that you get the right sort of contact. Oops. Missed one down here. Great, just give it a look. Make sure you've not missed anything important. Take your cutters. Try not to twang them into your eye. Thanks everyone, you are lovely. Good, so now I'm going to move on to doing some of the 100Ks on the other board, continuing through. So 26, I'm going to do like half of these and then the other half in two lots. So let's pull off another 4. Give them a bend. So on this one we're starting at 26. Right here at the top. Not 27, no, 28. 29. 30. Now normally when I do builds I do try to keep all the resistors the same way around, just because, but I'm not doing that this evening. I'm just getting stuck in because I'm just aware that I don't want to be here all night with you good people. Which sounds completely wrong. No, I do. I can't think of anything better than to be knocking around here with you good people. That's not what I mean. 32 and 33. Oh look, they are all the right way around. Brilliant. See? 34. It's funny as I say, you know, you don't want to get all the legs getting in the way, but I seem to be doing that anyway. I'll do a couple more and then we'll solder. $37. $37, $38. $38 all the way down there? Yeah, 38. Right, so this is the bit where we have to be a little bit more careful. Try not to do anything nasty to these nice rings of LEDs, yeah? Okay, iron down, solder in. Now this is one of these ones which has a double pad, so I'm just going to solder one side of it. And that's getting in the way. One in there that I can't quite get to. Bend those legs out of the way. Oops, I just filled a hole with solder by accident. That's good. Can I free that up? Or is that going to be... No, that's worse. Oh, you dipstick. Right, okay. Little bit of solder sucking required. So, I'm going to try to heat that. Get this fella in there. There we go. That's how I do it. Lovely. Is that all of those? Yeah, I think so. Snippers then. Careful also with your snippers against the LEDs. You don't want to clonk one or cut one by accident. The cutters are letting me down today. It's a bit sticky outy. Looking alright otherwise though. Right, okay. So I've got another 9 of these to do. So again, fold them, fold them. I got to 38 and then there's 39. Oh, I've got 2 in my hand. Ooh. There. 41. 42, 43. Last 4. $44. 45. 46, and lo and behold, I've got one left because I haven't done it properly. 46 doesn't go to 47. No. What have I got left out? $36. No. 27. No. 35. Yes, 35. Okay, there we go. Found the rogue one. I missed out 35, which is on this top corner, which is one I seem to have filled in by accident. That's good. How did I manage that? Don't know. Anyway, solder sucker time. Oh, it's getting a bit of action this go. I rarely use the thing. So I'm going to heat this up on this pad. Oh, blew it. There we go. $35 was it? Yeah, 35. Bit more soldering. Come on. Can't get it in there, missus. Oh dear. Come back to that one. I've got some horrible blobs on my soldering iron. Good, good, good. Lovely. Looking all right, that, I think. Keep clonking the LEDs. I keep doing it. What's going on? Okay, so far so good. So that's that big wad done. So let's now do the 120s, of which I've got 6, and they're all on the first board. R2. Now you've got F1 and F2 at the top here, which are the ferrite beads, which you're going to have trouble with in a little bit. So that's not it. R1 is just sort of snuck into this corner here. So R2 is here. It is a little bit crowded down here. You should be able to pick them out. You can also refer to the larger picture in the Bafaco's build guide, which gives you a good layout. So R5 is over here. It looks like it's labelled jumper 1, but it's not. R12. $13, $14, $15. Oh. Cool. Now I could do the 10Ks because they're also all on this board before I solder. Yeah, let's do that. R3. That was R2. R3 must be there. R11. R16. R22. Ooh, down here. R25, right next door. Great, another bunch of soldering to do. That's all that long. I do like it, you know. I do really enjoy this process. I mean, I'm sure it's different if you're having to run off 10 modules for somebody on a production line, but this, you know, building of electronics is just great. I was hoping to do some other soldering this afternoon, but I ran out of time because I wanted to get my my GX80 review up, because I just sort of missed the launch. But that's okay, actually. I don't mind missing the launch because there seemed to be a lot of stuff all around on it from all sorts of places that I hadn't expected. So I thought it's okay. I'll let all that sort of drift a little bit and then I'll finish mine off tomorrow, which I did. But I was going to build a little envelope which I had knocking around because I could do with one. That's looking pretty good. I just ran out of time, sadly. Now what am I doing? Alright, that was all. That was the 10Ks, wasn't it? Right. So now we've got some 1Ks. Oh, what's happened there? Crikey. Ah, no, go away. Strange Windows 11. So this is the 1Ks. And then the 30Ks. I haven't got much to go, really. Should be able to do all this in one sitting. So let's put them all in and see where we get to. Right. R1, the top end here somewhere. That's the one that's difficult to see. This one here. R1, R6, and then the other ones are on here. 36, 38, 36, sneaky cheeky chappy in there. 47, and 48. Oh, flipping cramp in my hand. Oh dear. God. These hobbies, flipping dangerous to your health. Oh, I seem to have solder stuck in there. I thought that was... Oh. Getting a bit wayward with my soldering, so it seems. That seems to have suffered from a little bit of being filled up. Just a tiny amount though. I leave too much solder on this flat edge. Starting to find some flaws in my thinking. I think I have to get a pointy one again. It's better. $48. Come on. There she goes. Good. Then the 30Ks. R4. That's R3, that must be R4, again a difficult one to read. That goes, got that on there. R4 goes there. R9 is further down. 10 there. Another one I've filled up. This is disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. Where is it? Oh, 10. Yeah, I've been putting globs of solder all over the place. Dear oh dear. Just been sort of leaping off the iron. No, that didn't achieve it. There we go. Where's it gone? R10. And these two 11Ks. (21 and 24). 21 down here. Good, that's all that one. I've got this last one, which is 27 on the other board. 27 is there. Good, right, so the rest of these to do. So a little bit too close. Try not to get solder in other holes. Right there, we see that's a perfect place to do that. There's one in there somewhere. Looks good. Some on this board. Great. Again, be careful clipping around those LEDs. Job's a good one. I'm just going to hang on to a couple of legs because of the ferrite bead situation. It's something I'm going to need a spare resistor leg for. Excuse me. Right. So that was all the resistors. And our board should look like that. I think mine do. Ooh, let's put them the same way around as they are on the screen. Yeah, I don't think I messed anything up too bad. This one, this way around. That seems to match. Great. So diodes and ferrite beads. I'm going to have to go and look on the floor again, aren't I? So these are your diodes. Let's worry about those first. So these have to match up with the line on the PCB. So they go on the main PCB, which is this one. There's something to do with the power regulation, which is where's the power socket? Power socket's up here. So they're going to be up in this section. They are chunky. Nice thick legs. Right. So D1 and D2, they're here. They've got extra big pads on them, which is actually helpful. Makes it easier to heat up. And what happens is you put these in so that the line on the diode is the same as the line on that weird triangle pointy signal thing. Simple. So you see that there? There's also a line across the screen print. That all lines up with that line. So that's the key thing to get right. Get those wrong, it's just nothing's going to work. So that goes in there with that line pointing that way. This is the same. Do you see the line is there at that top end? So that is where the grey line, silver line on the diode needs to go. Oh, I haven't filled that as well, have I? Go on, go through. Oh, I bloody have. Good Lord. What's the matter with me? Solder sucker. Right, make sure I get it the right way around. There we go. So the line's going that way. That's how they need to be. Now, ferrite beads. Little bugger. So I've got one, which is that one. Now it's my fan was the problem. It blows the thing straight off. So I'm going to be a bit more careful. Let's take this one out. And what you use a discarded resistor leg, like so, and just stick it through. Like that. And this goes on F1 and F2, which are there and there. Now I'm just going to have another quick look on the floor, see if I can find this thing. Talk amongst yourselves. Didn't land on me, did it? It definitely went clattering towards the floor. This direction. You can see my floor, you know how unlikely this all is. Finding this thing, but you've got to give it a go, because if you don't give it a go, you won't bloody find it. Oh yes. Oh yes. So I'm feeling a bit pleased with myself now. Alright, so that one goes in there also. And this goes in F2. I mean, it could be a ferrite bead from another project. Who knows? They look similar. Well, actually, it looks a bit bigger, to be honest. Oh, who knows? Who cares? So once you've done that, we'll be onto the IC holders. So we should solder these ones in before we do that bit, okay? You don't get this level of seat of the pants action on any other channel. I can tell you. Good, they're all in. Right, next, IC holders. Right, good. I'm a fan of IC holders. So these are all going into the control, to the main PCB, which is this one, which will always rattle now because of these ferrites sitting on here, which makes you think something isn't in right, but it is. So these are in this bag. It's got all the chips on the back, but we're interested in these bits for the minute. Chips can go to one side. So on my picture on screen I have them this way round, and then I orientate them all, which is rather a sweet idea. Let's do that. So what you're looking for is on the edge and the front end of your IC holder is a little nick, a little bit that's been taken out, just this little bit here, and that denotes or matches up with a similar thing on your PCB. Do you see that there where my finger is? So that is the way around it has to go. I mean, obviously there's nothing in this, so it doesn't matter which way around or up it goes, to be honest, but when you're putting the chip in, that's what's important. And having this match up here just means that everything is going to work that bit sweeter. So this one over here needs to be that way around. I've got one over here which is that way around, one on this side which is that way around, another one like that, and another one like that. So what I want is all of these to just jump into the board and it will be a good one. Right, so how am I going to do that then? Well, the way I do it is I put them all in and then I just give the legs a little bend. Well, I do a couple of things really. So I'm dropping them in. I know they're the right way around. I've already lined them up. And what I'm going to do is just twang one of the legs a little bit to help them stay in. You know what? I don't know that I will do that. I'm just going to do the normal thing, which I have this piece of plastic which I put over the top. You could use a piece of card, use a magazine, toilet roll, anything you like which is going to be flat. I then turn them over so that they stay magically in place, and then slide this carefully down, and they are all in place. It's magic. It's just magic. And now I can solder them. But what I will do is I'll solder one leg first. I mean, they look pretty much like they're going to be staying there and they're not going to be going anywhere, but you just never know. So get that out of the way. I will do one leg on each and then check that they are flat and straight. So I sort of apply some pressure to the PCB so that it stays flat. Heat up one of the legs. Ooh. Oh, see, that all went completely pear-shaped. All right, okay. I let it go twang, which is no good, is it? It can't have that. So now look, this is all over the place. So let's try all this again. Like I say, drama. You'd have to pay the Synths DIY guy good money to get this sort of drama going. Drama. Right, nearly there. So maybe I should have done the thing I talked about in the first place. See, that's all just rubbish. Right, thing on again. Turn it over. Now I want to heat up. I need to be a bit more careful. I'm going to heat up this leg so it melts, and then I can get it flat. That's better. Now let's try and do the same on the other one without screwing up this time. So one leg, heat it up. Add some solder. Carefully take it off. Good. Another one. Carefully take it off. Yeah. Big one. And what's left? One here. Ooh, don't let it tilt. And one here. Okay, so with a corner leg done on each one of them, I can turn it over, check that they're all flat. And if I'm happy with that, I can then do the rest of the legs. There we go. There's a little a little like Space Invader that I'd never noticed printed on there. That's rather jolly. Is that the lot? I think so. Excuse me. Good stuff. Now onto the capacitors. So that's this bag of bits here. Let's have a look and see what we have. Alright, looks like there's been a disturbance in the chat. Be nice to each other. We're here to talk about modular and synthesizers, not really anything else. To be honest. Thank you very much. So, capacitors. So we want to split these up into our disc ones, which are the 10s. Then we've got these knobbly ones, which are either 104s or 220s. There's only two 220s, so the rest should be 104s. It's written very small on the side. There's a 220. There's a 220. So I should have 19 of the 104s. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes, good. 2 of the 220s, which I do over here. Now this is the tricky one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in my kit here I've got 10 of these. That's because this was an early kit. If you've got 10, as I say, you do actually need 11. So if you give Bafako a shout, they will sort you out with a spare. Fortunately, I've got like a tub. I bought a tub of random bits, which seemed like a good idea, and it's turned out being pretty good. Pretty good. So 10 picofarads is this lot here, I believe. 110. Yeah. I believe Thonk has got another lot on the way. They should be there any time if they're not already. For kits, if you're looking for a kit. It did take everyone by surprise how well they sold, which is a nice problem to have, but not that great if you're looking for a kit, of course. But as soon as I hear anything, I will let you know. So this is my spare 10. Looks slightly different to those, but it will work well enough. It'll work well enough. So once again, you're sticking it on by the numbers, this time the C numbers. And the control board goes up to C28, I think. I mean, the main PCB goes up to C28. And then the rest go on this one. So we'll start with the main board. We will start with the little ones in the middle. So move the rest of the things out of the way. So the 104s first. Let's not lose anything else. And jam them in. So C3, C4, C3, C4 over there. So you can give them a little bend underneath just to hold them in. They don't have an orientation. They are not polarized. 5 and 9, C5. And 9. Ten, 13. Fourteen, 17. Fourteen, 17, 18, 19. 2023. Ooh, 23 is all the way down here. 25, 26. 26. Good, let's get all those in. What am I doing? I've got me things. All good. I quite like this point when you have this topology is starting to emerge, where you have the colourful resistors and then offset by the rather chunky capacitors. It's really starting to look like a piece of electronics, and that tickles me. You know, simple things. That's good. Hi, Evil V8 Power. You're alright. You're over on Twitch. Good for you. Well done. Yeah, hopefully there'll be more in stock soon, is the hope. So let's finish off these 104s, which I think now move over to here, so I don't get myself confused. There's only a handful on here. What did I get to? I got to 26, I think. No, that's not right. What did I get to? 35? No. Oh, I don't remember. Anyway, 60. 60 over here. 62. 63. 66 and 67. 66. 67 at the bottom. Let's just put those in. Make sure I'm doing everything in order. Again, watching out for those LEDs. Oh, come on, keep it together, keep it together. Come on, come on. Good. Come on. Excuse me, sorry for my cold. Right, so these little fellas here, got to put on. Funny looking things. Ooh. Yourself around the right way, this way round. 8 C8. Again, these are not polarized, they just go in any old way around. 8, 11 and 12. Fifteen, 16. 24, 28. Okay, that's that. Now I can put these other two in while I've got this board in my hand, because they're 21 and 22, which is on here. 21. 22, they're just either side of the crystal, which we'll put on in a minute, I think. You know, I could just chuck it in there. No, let's keep the order. Keep the order. Follow it through. Don't jump ahead. That's always the answer. Yep. Excuse me one sec. Oh, I'm sorry this isn't more scintillating. There's just a fair bit of soldering to do. Right, good. That's those bits in. That's looking pretty good on there. A few more to add to this board of the 11s. Another 4, so 59. 59 at the top end here. Let's get my special weenie one, that one. Let's try to make it a little bit smaller in there. Doesn't fit quite so nicely. 61. 64. Oh! More solder sucking required. I've lost where it is now. There. .64 and 65. Right, good. The last of the capacitors, at least the regular ones. See, I did it again. Good. Right, that's all of those. So the crystal and voltage regulators it reckons next before we get to the electrolytics. So the crystal is this weird thing here. This thing here, it's like a clock. It's got magic crystals inside that are powered by like unicorn juice. So we have that, which is nice. That goes on here between these two capacitors. Labeled on the board as Q1, I believe. You know, I don't think I even mentioned it. Oh, I did at the top. Silver slab goes in Q1 on the main board, yes. So, again, doesn't matter which way round. Squeeze that in there. And then for the regulators, we've got those two and these two. So there's two types. The LM4040 are the straight-legged ones, 4040s. They go into Reg 1 at the top and Reg 2 at the bottom of the control one. So at the top of this one, Reg 1. Now you can see it's 3 holes altogether with the 3 legs. Got to look at the orientation. The flat edge of it needs to go with the flat edge of the picture. Just need to bend those legs out a little bit so it matches up with what's on the screen print. Yeah, and that goes in. Sort of rock it down a bit, I think is always good. And the other one goes into the bottom here of the control PCB. So again, it's got to be the right way around. So the flat to the flat, rock it down. Job's a good one. For these other two, release them from their paper. Oh, more girls. Excellent. No, that's good to know. Good to know. Thanks for that. So, what am I doing? Yeah, so these other two go into IC1 and IC2 on the main PCB, which is this one. So IC1 is at the top there. IC2 is kind of opposite it. So again, you want it to be like the screen print, flat to those 3 legs, like so. Rock those down, bend the legs a little bit. This other one goes the other way round. Flat pointing against flat. Check that it looks like it does on the photograph. Yeah, it totally does. Great, so let's whack those in as it were. Yep, let's just pop this other one in here. Take those legs off. I know, 30 minutes. What time is it now? Coming up to 9 o'clock. God grief, that's me 2 hours. But I did do a half an hour of chat before I started. So, you know, give us a half an hour's grace, I would say. And where are we? We're at this point. I mean, what's left to go on? Not a whole lot. Just the headers, a couple of capacitors, then all the front panel stuff. All the front panel. Oh my goodness. Might need another coffee. We'll do it. We'll make it. It'll be all right. Hang in there, everyone. Or you could be running it on fast forward if you're doing this at home. So, electrolytic capacitors. Let's keep at it. Keep at it, man. Keep at it. So these are all the same. Something or other. Did I say what they are? No, I don't think I did. Does it matter? No. But they're all 10 microfarad or some such. But these are electrolytic. Oh, okay. Just got legs all gummed up. So they it matters which way round they go into things. Oh, I'm doing a terrible job of that. Let's hope the leg doesn't come off. Okay, that one came out. Oh, it's fun times. Absolutely. Right, so long legs positive. We know that. Long legs are positive. That's important. That's why it's important to get my legs straight again so I know which one's the long one. So these go on the main PCB, which is this one. And it's labelled on the print positive and negative. And it's also got a flat bit to also denote the negative. The negative on the capacitor is the stripe. That's the negative, and you'll see that the negative one is on the shorter leg, so therefore the long leg is positive. Long leg goes into the positive hole like so. That's how you do it. Long leg positive. This one here, long leg positive, short leg negative, goes through, pointing in that direction. So this is in C1, C2, C6 and C7, which are all stuffed in there. Long leg positive. Wiggle it through. Good job, good job. Good job if my legs were not a mess to start with. Long leg positive. Good, yeah, all in there. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, let's get those soldered in before we get onto the headers. Come on. Oh, that all just came off. No, that's not getting on the pad at all. Get that down there a little bit. Try that again. That's just refusing to heat the pad. That's got it. You've got little tiny pads on these particular capacitors, so you've really got to get the edge of your soldering iron in there somehow to heat that pad. I think that's all right. I think they're in there. Yeah. Going with it. That was a bit of a crazy one. Right, next, pin heads and sockets. Pins and sockets. We've got those, and those. I think they all match up. So these are notoriously tricky, I say. It's very easy to get these a bit wonky. So we'll start with the headers. That's the one with the pins sticking out both ends. That's these bits here. These go on the main PCB at jumper 1, jumper 2, and jumper 3. See if we can find that to start with. Okay, jumper 1, jumper 2, jumper 3 over there, not that one. There, and there. Place them on the same side as the rest of the components so that the shortened pins go through the PCB. See, I'm glad I said that, because that's something that comes up from time to time. So my 3's going in there, the 4's going in there, 5's going in there. These must be soldered straight. Right, gotcha. So turning it over again is a bit of a bind, but I'm using my magic piece of stuff. This is actually a filter for one of my lights that I never use. They never seem to look right to me. All my lights are covered in bits of muslin. I don't know. Anyway, so hold them on there and turn it over. Try to slide it down without it all falling out. That's good. And these are going to need to be straight because you're going to want the boards to be straight to connect to each other. So give them a little wiggle, make them as straight as possible. Then we're going to have to be careful in where we apply pressure to try to solder one of the pins. So I'm going to get in here somewhere, try to keep it flat, let it heat up. See, that was a beautiful piece of soldering, beautiful. Here. Good. And one pin over here. So this is just like we did with the IC sockets. Exactly the same idea. Just solder one of the pins. Oop. So when you've done one, then give it a look. See if they are flat and straight. And if so, do the rest. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. Where are they? Here we go. Again, very small pads. Need to get the angle right and the heat will transfer. Come on. Nearly there. This one's down here. Good, 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 good. Good, lovely. So, must be soldered straight. Yeah, did that. Solder a single pin. Yeah, turn it over and check. For the sockets, what I like to do is place them in the headers. And then put the second PCB over the top. So what we're doing is we're taking the corresponding socket bit and plugging that in. Mind you, don't push them straight into your fingers. That one there, that one there, this one here, like so. We're then going to put this PCB over the top. Now, which way round does it go is the question. Well, you've got to imagine, I suppose, that these two are going to go together, and this with the LEDs is the front. This could be the front panel you've got your jacks on and stuff, so that has to be the front. So in which case this is going to be attaching to the back. And if you look at the printed PCB, you can see that it's printed on this side, so that's the side that that's going to sit in. So it's going to be soldered on the other side, if you see what I mean. So that sits beautifully, of course, I hope. Beautifully on there. Now we haven't put the chips in yet into these sockets, but we'll be pulling this apart in a minute to do that. So let me just check this all the way around. Yeah, that looks good. Nothing's getting in the way of anything. That capacitor there can be a bit troublesome against that chip, but it looks alright at the minute. So that's all in place. And again, we just solder it, make sure it's straight. So again, I'm going to just do a single pin. Just to check. Yeah, that's good. Now let's just do the rest. Careful of the old LEDs. Oops. Good, 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 good. Okay, then gently pull them apart again. Like that. There we go. Power connector goes on the main PCB, which is this one. Goes on the other side here. It can only go one way round. Well, no, it can't. You can put it in whichever way you like. Put it in upside down, back to front if you wish. But there's a line here that tells us about the cable that goes in. As far as soldering is concerned, you want this break going where this is. So going in, excuse me, like that. That's what you want. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to turn that over and solder it somehow. Want it to be fairly straight. I'm going to borrow this piece of foam just to stick under there, just to keep it a little bit straight. And I'll press down. Just be wary of the other components as you're doing that. Thank you, somebody says. So press down on it so it's going to be flat. That's good, that's all looking good. Great, I'll continue with that. Now these outside pins are the easy bit, nobody says, getting in a muddle. Oh dear. It's going to be more difficult getting to these other ones. To sort of angle my iron in there. Careful not to burn myself. I can't see for looking. Good. Yep, that's in. Rock and roll. Now, the ICs. Let's install these into the holders. Make sure we get them around the right way. That's important, obviously. Now, I've got this tool here, which I use for straightening legs. Because when you attempt to put these in, they don't always line up. See that they're sort of too wide for your holder. Now the old school way of doing it is that I would lean it up against the ground and I would just rock them slowly and carefully to bend those legs in a little bit so that they're more square. But also I have this fabulous tool which I use, which is one of the most useful tools anyone's ever recommended to me. Most tools people recommend are not that useful, or are useful for them but doesn't seem to work for me, whereas this one, it just squashes those legs and makes them work. Now, got to remember which chips are what. Okay, they're all the same. So the 8-legged ones are all TL072s, so that's good. So let's put those ones in first. I've got one here, one there, one there, one there. Now if you can see through the IC holder to the PCB, just to check that you did that the right way around. So this one here, it's got on the PCB, there's the little semicircle, there's the nick on that. So this chip, come on, is going to have its little circle, its little dot heading in that direction. So it's going to go that way round. And now you've got your leg straight, it should just push straight in, like that. Just bloody genius is what it is. So I'll stick another one in there, give it a squeeze. Now over here, I've got two facing this way, checking on the PCB, that's right. Yep, that's right. So that little dot should be facing this way. Oh, I've lost my depth of field. There we go. This one, squeeze. There. That goes in. Oh, that's slightly worrying. It didn't go in as smartly as I would like to feel it go in. I worry whether that's something's gone wrong there. I could lever it out just to have a look. That looks alright. I'm just going to give it another squeeze in case I did something not quite right. I've got a leg there which a little bit of adjustment required, I think. My hands are getting tired and cold. Make sure that goes in. Yeah, that's alright. Don't know what that was about. I reckon that's in enough. Okay, another one of the fours here. Let's get that out of the way. And this one has the dot going the other direction. Yep. Now this one. So check again on the board. Yeah, it's facing that way. So that's where I want the dot to be, and this one, because it's slightly larger, oh, get it into shot, also has the same nick out the front. So that all goes in. Make sure the legs line up, push it in. Nice. Big long one, the nick is there, goes in this way round. Make sure you've got it lined up. And that should just squeeze itself in. The Mega 168 is in the thing. That's the brain that's doing all the brainy stuff. Good. So that is those things sort of done. Now all we've got to do is the front panel hardware. What time is it? Okay. So we can get this done by 10, yeah? Op amps! Yeah, none of those can. Not, well, at least they probably have been. Oh, yeah, no, hang on. These are all op amps, aren't they? Is that what they are? Of course they are. TL07 Watsits. That's what they must be. I've forgotten everything already. Right, hardware. Let's get everything else out of the way. Prepare myself for this. Not going to need the pliers anymore. Let's have a look, see what we've got. The drugs are wearing off, man. It's not good. Right. So we've got some funky conks. We've got the 3 knobs. Let's get the banana nuts out of the way. Standoffs. 3 switches. 3 knobs. Cool, rock and roll. So switches first. They're all the same and don't have an orientation. So now we're talking about the control PCB, which is this fella here. All this stuff is going to go on the front. This is the front. This is what's going to be going on with this business. Whoa. This is exciting now. Okay. Whew. Right, okay, so switches. Solder one leg and check. Oh my goodness, what's going on with that? Oh, I just cut my nails. Right, so these should go they just go in any old way, I think. But ideally you shouldn't have bent legs. They should all go through. So that's good there. Now they don't have to be the same way around, but they may as well be, because one side's got like writing on it. Okay, those are in. Make sure they're flat. So now you're going to have all this trouble of trying to keep them flat. So be very careful of these header bits here, that you're not doing nasties with your soldering iron. So once again, let's solder one pin. Try to apply some pressure. Ooh, not too much though. Just trying to hold that straight as I take that off. They look good. Right, solder the rest. Be careful of those headers. Me, you're getting all efficient. I'll do these lugs up here as well while I'm at it. Ooh. Something's not gone quite right there. Good. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to get into this one. Maybe I can. Also, I'm not entirely convinced it's important, but I've done it anyway. Now, so I need to go this way around to try to do the rest of these. You know, I've just suddenly started using the soldering iron the other way up, and that's working like a good one. Why didn't I ever think of that before? Good gracious. Well, there's always something new to learn. Also got to be careful because that one did not take. That's better. I'm leaving a lot of solder sticking off. I don't want. Is that all in? I think so. Yeah, I think so. Good. Right, switches in. Pots firmly in place, but do not solder. Right. So the pots go in these bits right in the middle of the LEDs, of course. So there's 3 holes, and then there's the 2 lugs. We'll push in quite nicely. 3 holes, 2 lugs. That one did not go according to plan. Try it again. Excuse me again. Right. I bent my lug. A little bit. So 3 pins. Come on, in you go. There we go. Get out of it. 3 pins. And in. So don't solder. Mini jack sockets. Put these in at the bottom. 3 rows. Now you'll notice that they actually share the kind of the earth or the ground leg in the middle, and those first ones at the bottom are slightly offset, which is fun. It's kind of a jauntiness to it. Otherwise they just slap straight in without any bother, assuming you haven't filled it with solder like I have. No, that's working fine. Okay, those are all in. Do not solder. Is that what it says? Do not solder, yeah, okay. Now the LED crowns. Right, so just put that to one side for the moment. We've now got these things here. What's that doing? These fabulous things. So I looked at a few ways of putting these together. What seemed to work best for me is this method. Now you're welcome to do it any other way you like. So I put down the front panel like so. And I put these so that, see, you got long end and short end. I put in the short end in there. Seemed to be the right thing to do. And then you take the control PCB and you place it down on top of it. So like this. I mean, hopefully all your nuts are not going to fall out. So the idea is that I put it down like that, and then I lift this up to meet it. Any other way seemed to be, to me, far more difficult. See, that's in. I think that's in. Oh my goodness. So just keep it together. So it should be, you just got to keep a little bit of tension going. So you turn it up the right way again, like that. That's all in. That's just awesome. It's definitely the right way to do it, I think. So need to secure the front panel. So screw the nuts onto the jack sockets first. So there should be some slightly larger ones of these. So there should be, there's a larger one, 3 larger ones, and the smaller ones for those. The larger ones are for the knobs. So stick those on just finger tight. That's not right. Let's try that one. Yeah, that works. So that must be that. Is it not that one? It must be this one then. Yeah, that one. There we go. So screw those on. Can't see any of what I'm doing. So screw those on there. And then we put these on here. So this is going to keep everything straight and everything together as we solder it. And I think once this is on, it doesn't need to come off again. Let's say that. That's assuming everything works. Good, so that's now solid. So we're going to turn this over, and there's a fair bit of soldering to do there now. Excuse me a moment. Oh. Nearly there, final stretch. Let's have a look in. So these are peppered around all sorts of things, so just be careful what you're leaning your soldering iron against, and just go to town. Try not to melt that particular capacitor. Good. Oop, took the top off that one over there and just left all the solder on the bleeding iron. See, ooh, come on, keep it together. Good, good, that's better. Obviously I don't want to accidentally desolder the surface mount thing I did so beautifully. Alright, so that's one pot. Careful of the plastic. Just find your angle of entry. Get rid of excess solder more often than I do, I would suggest. I'm going to get into this one. Oh, come on! Not rolling about. This will just come off on there. Not quite getting that right. Okay, good, that moved off. Good, good stuff, good stuff. That was better. Come on, stay still. Stop it. Don't want to hit that. Good. Alright. Just the jacks to do now. Well, I probably need something to hold on to it a little bit more, but I can't be bothered at the moment. But if I were you, I would grip it between something. Definitely what I would do. To avoid potential catastrophic occurrences. Alright, where am I up to? There. Can I get the solder to that without it all going wrong? Like that. Right, somehow chasing it about the place, I think I managed to do it. Now just check that you did all of the bits. That's always important, particularly with pots, because you're trying to find things in places that are awkward to get to. Just make sure that you did do all the bits you were supposed to. Great, that's the hardware done. Now there's a tricky standoff bit that we had to do. Though I wasn't sure how else to do it at the time, this way up. So I used a pair of pliers and this, and sort of worked out some way of getting that through that hole onto that somehow. Look at that, flipping easy as pie. Easy as pie. Is there another one? Yeah, there's another one at this corner. Yeah, good. Look at that. Nice. So, now we need to marry up these two parts, which is not that way around, this way around, so that they are going to fit brilliantly. So that sits on there, that sits on there, and the other side, and you just give them a bit of a push. That is it. Oh, there's a bit bendy. Well, no, there we go. There's a little bit of give. A little bit of give in it. Just check it round and make sure nothing is being crushed. Yeah, that side could go down a little bit further, but then that's sort of interfering with that side a little bit. So, you know, it will be alright. It will be what it is. There's just enough, I reckon, stuff going on. So marry them two together. I put those two screws in, then we're onto the knobs, and we're pretty much there, gang. Pretty much there. Screw. One down here. People are recommending me PCB holders. No, I have a reputation to maintain. of having stuff go all over the place. Once you start getting all the posh gear, like things that help, you know, it's game over really, isn't it? Might as well be anybody. Where's the comedy in that? Right, this is, I mean, it's done. Look at it. It's pretty much there. It's pretty much there. Now we've got the knobs to put on, and then it's congratulations time. Like crazy, and we'll have to test it, won't we? Oh, I don't want to test it. Yeah, we better test it. Right, so knobs all the way over to the left for reasons I can't quite remember. Then it's never going to be exactly perfect, but I just try to line that up with that bottom of that white line, and then you push it in and it really hurts your fingers on the other side. Let's come back out a bit. But you know, you have to do, there has to be some pain involved. Cool, that's flipping heavy. Right, and this one, ow, push it down. Ugh. And then this one, about the same, about there. Now I found that I had to actually push them on the edge of my desk to get them flush. Try not to break the bugger. Let's do that side one first. Oh, lean into them a little bit. Still got that middle one hanging up. There we go. Good enough, I reckon. Good enough. They all move well. The switches move. I could get my little Bafako tool, if one came with yours, and just tighten those up a little bit. So it's quite a neat little idea of Bafakos. Oops. Which is great. Power connector. So it can only go one way round. Plug that in. And it's done. It is done. Look at that. We built that. We did. We built that. Right. Plug it in. Sorry. Yeah. Right. I had one from before when I made that Apollo video. Let's see if I can use this as my test. Just going to reorient this camera. Hold on to yourselves. What are we trying to do? Trying to get that straight. Ah! It's falling, it's falling. No, it's fine, it's fine. Let's put that about there. Right, so I had power for this. Where did that go? Power for this was... there. There we go. So how am I going to test this is the question, and that's going to fit there quite nicely, although I don't quite have anything to screw it into. Yes, I do. There's a couple there. Do I have a spare? I do. I've got a spare thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to plug it in, see if it works. That's always the way. There's a spare power socket that goes in one way round. That's in. Now hopefully in my weakened state this is going to be alright. Ready? We ready? Look at that, look at that. It lit up, it lit up, it flipping lit up. All the way round. All the way round. All the way round. Any smoke? Not that I can see. Audio. Audio lights. Audio. And inverting. Look at all that, it's just beautiful. We've got a wobbly one there, not going to worry about it. Or look, potentially, have I broken one, do we think? Hang on, that's interesting. No, it works on that one. It works on that one. No, maybe that's just as far as it goes. Yeah, that's as far as it goes. Okay, right, don't panic. Don't panic. Right, well, let's secure this a little bit, if I can. And then we'll just plug a couple of things into it to see if it does something. Oh, come on. I can't actually squeeze it in there because of all the garbage. Oh, I'm getting some strangeness going on, so I'm going to turn it off. I don't want to end up doing something stupid just because I'm being careless. So let's give myself a little bit of room. Happen to come with two knurlies, which are always good. I turn my fan off. Okay, good. Right, so I'm just going to need to find the right couple of cables. Okay, right, so What am I trying to achieve? That's the question. I'm trying to get modulation into something. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So I need a nice long cable. That's not quite long enough. It's this one. Let's just take something simple. Like, I can't find anything simple. Oh, there we go. Like an LFO. There we go, everything appears to be working as far as I can see. Got audio coming into this one. I've got modulation coming to 3. Which I can boost with 1. Which is offsetting it, if you know what I mean. Or I had that going the other way round. I can have it coming into 1, messing about with 2 because that's on audio, and then coming out of 3. So yeah, that's kind of like the anti-patch where it just confuses itself. So in some ways it's better to have audio at the top going straight back out again. Like so. And then have your modulation on 2 and 3. What's this? That's this modulation going in there. So there you go. That's got to be it, hasn't it? I think we're there. Ooh, I think we're there. It was 3 hours. Well, you know, so sue me. I can't help it. But I think we're there. I think it's doing more or less what it should be doing. All the lights are on, certainly. My modulation sources are a little bit out of reach, which is making it a little bit awkward. But otherwise, the build's a good one. A couple of things I noticed. The edges of the PCB where it was broken, where you might break that off, it might be a bit rough and it might make it difficult to put into an exact HP specific hole. So you can just sand those down a little bit. That's the problem I was having in trying to put this in here. But you know, just take those edges off with either with a knife or a bit of sandpaper and that'll be fine. Otherwise, it seemed to be relatively straightforward. I don't think there are any big mistakes I'd made in the build guide that I could notice. By all means, let me know if you found any. But otherwise, it's a straightforward build. It takes a little bit of time. That's all it is. It takes a little bit of time. But I did have plenty of chat involved as well. So I reckon, you know, you could do it 2 to 3 hours. And you'd be there. So there you go, the Molten Motion Meter, made by me, my fair hands, live stream soldering. Not too sure I'm going to do any of that again. It just ends up being too long, I think. But it seemed to be worthwhile for this, particularly after all the experience I had with doing the Erica Synth EDU modules that work quite well. I mean, that was a passion project, that one. And that has got us to where we are now, which is great. But I hope that's useful to you if you're out there trying to build this. But it really is pretty straightforward. I can't see where any snags would be, particularly. Ken asks, what happens if you put an output from 3 into an input on 1? I don't know. What do you want them to be? I don't know how many were sold so far, Steve. I don't think we've sold out of assembled ones. I know that that Thonk sold about 30 kits, which was cool. That was the first batch. Ray says he finds Bafako pads a bit too close. They are crowded in there, yeah, but this one is nowhere near as crowded as something like the Perkle or the noise plethora thing. It's relatively straightforward, I have to say, with all the soldering. It's not particularly close. It's close and small, but not as many of the others. Yeah, hopefully I will feel better. Does it feed back? Yeah, I know, but what do you want going through what to what? I mean, the output. Have I turned it off now? No, I've just broken it or something. Oh no, there we go. See what? But I don't know how that's going to work, Ken. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not getting it. How can I take an output of something, plug it into the input if the input's supposed to already have an output of something plugged into it? How can I do that? I don't know. Well, my brain's not working straight, so that's good. Anyway, so there you are. As I say, I hope that was helpful. Do go and check out my new beanie hats, which just turned up, which are exciting. Not turned up with me, turned up as an available thing you can buy in the store. It still takes about 6 weeks to deliver one, but don't worry about that. They'll be in time for Christmas, I should think. So that's exciting. Otherwise, yeah, I think I'm done here for now. Thanks ever so much for sticking with us. If you've been watching, that's great. Thanks for that. If you've built one along, I'd love to see a photo of it. So stick it up on Instagram or Twitter or something, and tag it Molten. I don't know what we do. Molten Motion Meter, or tag it Molten Modular, or tag me, whatever you like, and I'll see if I can find it. It would be a delight to see your work out there. If you can't get it to function, Bafako should be the people you go and speak to, but by all means you can ask me too. You bought a mug today, did you, Ken? Good man. God bless you. Look, I got one right here. They're good. I like the mugs. You know, they chip a bit from time to time, but then I'm a mug abuser. So there we go. Coming up soon, coming up next, I might build that little ADSR tomorrow just for fun. I'll stick that up. Otherwise, we've got a Molten Monthly coming up next week, of course. Got to think about that. And I have to put together the website for Synth East, as we've got promotional stuff, and that needs to all start to launch off before the end of November is what we need. So I've got lots of that to do. So I will speak to you at the end of the month, I hope, after the Molten Monthly, and see where we are. Hopefully we're all feeling a lot better. So cool. Take it easy out there. Do lots of soldering, and go and make some tunes. Oh, which button is it? Oh, I can't remember. Come on, Seamless. That one. No, that's not one. Try that one. That's the one. Thanks, everyone. Take care.